Okay, on the podcast, why has trust collapsed in the media? Journalist Annie O'Brien has gone where few journos care to go. She has ripped into her own profession and says the media protects the political left while pretending to be fiercely neutral. So she joins me on the podcast. Let's go.
Are we paying these people to front up, or are we paying them to fly to Wellington to eat their lunch? Should you really lose your career for refusing to take part in a 90-minute lesson about Māori culture? This government doesn't actually have any idea how to get economic growth. Show us what you made of, Prime Minister.
Editor-in-Chief with Duncan Garner.
Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief, proudly sponsored by the Brothers Green. Unlock the innate power of New Zealand botanicals to support your mobility. Try the Brothers Green New Zealand Move Joint Support Tonic and join over 20,000 other Kiwis experiencing easier movement. For as little as $1 a day, you too can experience the power of New Zealand hemp seed oil for your joint health. Head to brothersgreen.co and use code DG20 at the checkout for 20% off your first order. It's a good one. Always read the label. Take as directed. Supplementary, of course, to a balanced diet. The Brothers Green, Christchurch. G'day, good evening. Welcome to Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief. Lovely to have your company. Welcome. And thank you, of course, again to the Brothers Green, Christchurch for backing us, supporting us and partnering with us. Without them, we wouldn't be here, so thank you. And please subscribe. Text Duncan to 3598 and for $7.99 a month. If you text that name, my name, to 3598 for $7.99 a month, you'll join the inner circle, Team Duncan. You'll go, you'll get bonus episodes, you'll get ad-free episodes, you'll get Ask Me Anything sessions, all sorts of things, and the weekly newsletter. $7.99 a month, please, if you text Duncan to 3598. Right, tonight, Annie O'Brien, she has called it. She really has. The media's drifted off to the left, she says. I'll go further. I reckon some of them have disappeared up their own arse. Tonight, is the media too left? We'll provide some evidence of all of this. So let's go.
It's the Slam Dunk.
Journalist Annie O'Brien, she's called it, and the reaction proved her point, I reckon. She said New Zealand's media leans left and half the country lost its minds, they said. Journalists clutched their pearls. Twitter lit up with the usual defenders of objective journalism, insisting, well, all's well here, it's not me, and there's your proof it's not. When an industry claims nothing to see here, perception is reality for us. Trust collapsed. Nothing to see here means there's something here, all right? Not a day goes by where I'm not hit up by someone about what I do and how I do it and how it is in their eyes now. I'll admit there is the odd loop amongst them and conspiracy theorists, but not everyone, right? Not everyone. The right, the conservatives, the farmers, the older folk in the regions, these people feel like the media has not represented their views for some time. And you know what? I listen to these people. I travel, back and forth and hear from them all the time. I think they might be right. Seeing John Campbell promote another hit on Brian Tamaki, and I sigh and I think, God, go and hit the weirdos on the left too, the Benjamin Doyles, the truth behind his promotion and demise, and the Greens. Come on, even up the ledger. Why do the same old apologists do the same old hits and think that the public's right behind them? I know Māori journalists who openly support the kaupapa of the Greens and Te Pāti Māori. And they accuse me of bias. No, it's just that what I say doesn't fit their overt bias. They're deluded if they can't see that. The public are all over this and onto them, and they're scathing of them as well. And they've walked away from traditional media. They have walked away. I see Māori journalists celebrating the rule-breaking antics of Te Pāti Māori. I played it yesterday. I can't resist. I'm going to play it again today. Te Kariri, after Urini Kaipata was sworn into Parliament, Parliament was suspended because she flouted the rules. Look at this. This is a total love fest from Te Kariri. I can't resist playing this. Look at here's your evidence right here. Bang.
Ati hā e tiwi kei te hono mai te māngai tōranga pūho o tāmaki makaurau me te Pāti Māori o Orini Kaipara ki tā tātou wānanga. I nei a tonu nei ki te korero mo tēnei rā, nui tai ore mōna ki te whare pāre mata Orini e hoa. Nei te mihi aroha nui ki a koe, tēnā koe e te tuihine i tēnei rā whakahirahira o tira o tātou katoa. Ngā mihi ki a koe.
Tēnā koe e rongo nei tēnei ngā kauwhakahi i te aroha e rere maina i tā maki makaurau skori. O tira i te taiwhanga o te karere koutou i ta whitira tēnā rā koutou. Tēnā koe te manahau.
Kia ora, marika rere atu nei te aroha ki a koe e hoa.
It's not all right, is it? And Annie's right. And the sooner we admit it, the sooner we can fix it. I remember being part of the mob at the 2005 election who taunted and chased Don Brash over the exclusive Brethren's impact and commitments and money that they sent to the National Party. And we chased him to within an inch of his life. I remember the journalists drooling over the fresh meat aspect of it all. But did they equally chase the Greens this year for their horrid year in which everything's gone wrong? Of course they didn't. When Chloe Swarbrick stupidly backed Benjamin Doyle and his weird social media posts about sex and children, did they go after her then? No, but imagine if that was the National Party leader. They would have punished them. The Greens, coasting. It's wrong. And the country now more than ever sees it and hears it and feels it, and it's pushing back because they can push back. It's no longer 3 media options, there's hundreds. There are hundreds of these of media now, and the figures show and the rise of platforms like this and the demise of the traditional media, because the traditional media has been arrogant and let people down, I reckon. They've been aloof. They thought they couldn't be touched, that their shit didn't stink, and it did. Look at Radio New Zealand, tens of millions of bucks given as the audience collapses. If our audience collapses in the private media sector, we're gone. There's collapses. And they're tone deaf and they expect the money still. They get the staff, the correspondents. They've got correspondents and staff up the yin-yang. But whenever I accidentally find them on the dial, their discussions couldn't be further away from the real world that New Zealand lives in right now. They're the prime example of self-centred, self-important, tone deaf and blind to the fact that New Zealand thinks they're a left-wing plant and they pretend to be neutral. Pass me the sick bag. I've never seen so many Radio New Zealand journalists move into the beehive once the Labour government takes office. It's like an exodus. Time after time, the exodus happens. All their presenters are left and sympathetic. I couldn't name one who thinks that New Zealand First and ACT might be worth voting for. They're sneering in their work and sneering in their attitudes. Lost completely up their own backsides. So I'm not going to make many friends out of the same. They hate guys like me and Sean Plunkett. Anyone who goes against the grain, they don't like. They really shine the spotlight on their own organisation. Paragons of virtue and paragons of truth and paragons of delusion. Someone sent in the shrink, read them the Right Act, tell them the truth. Criminal charges, wayward MPs, a budget costing $88 billion in new taxes on New Zealanders. These are the Greens. These are the Greens. And did they get much pushback on that stuff? The regions are aghast at how lightly the Liberal city folk and the Liberal media have let these guys off in the Greens. This isn't about conspiracy, it's about culture, and culture runs deep. We've had years of editorial groupthink in newsrooms, where one worldview has dominated. Progressive, urban, university educated, Wellington fixated. Good people, many of them, but they often don't see their own bias because they can't get past their own bias. It's everywhere around them. It's normal. It's reinforced. Everyone's like this, they think. And it's dangerous. Then they travel to the regions and they realise, if they do travel at all, they realise, hang on a second, this is different. It means stories get filtered through a lens, one that's more comfortable calling someone marginalised than calling them wrong. More interested in platforming feelings than facts. More likely to sneer at Middle New Zealand than understand Middle New Zealand. It's why coverage of things like co-governance, gender ideology, crime or immigration feels one-sided or worse, sanitised. It's not always what is said, it's what's left out. Who's never interviewed? Whose pain doesn't fit the narrative? Who gets labelled an extremist for asking basic questions? Let me be clear. Media should challenge power. That's our job. But when the media itself becomes part of the cultural elite, it stops seeing itself as biased and starts seeing its own opinions as just facts. It's not. This is how trust is lost, and it's how we've lost it. We now have people tuning off, tuning out, scrolling past because they don't see their views, their values and their realities reflected in the headlines. Instead of asking why, the industry attacks them as misinformed. It's arrogant. It's also terrible journalism. You don't win trust by being right. You win trust by being fair. Now, Annie O'Brien has the guts to say it plainly. The media's drifted. She's not demanding propaganda from the right. She's demanding balance. And she's right to. If media doesn't fix this internally, it'll be fixed for us by audiences walking away, by funding collapsing, and by extremists filling the vacuum. And it's happening. Can't you see it? Here's some of Annie's recent examples of where the media shows its true left-wing colours. If the former Vice President of National, ACT or New Zealand First, had appeared on Radio New Zealand and said it wasn't safe to talk about experiences within the party, it would be leading the 6pm news for a week. In just the last 3 days, Willie Jackson launched racist attacks at Ryan Bridge. I know you're trying to write off all the Māoris, right? And you've been trying to do that for a while now. That's what he said to Ryan. Malama Davidson shared a video of a person who wants to stand for Parliament that has the caption, "I know it will be hard not to punch David Seymour and Winston." God, why didn't this get coverage? Martin Bradbury called for people to spit in politicians' food. If you're serving a National ACT or New Zealand First MP's food, make sure you spit in the food. That's charming. And they get away with it. And Edu Kapakingi has said he can't share stories about Te Pāti Māori in order to keep himself and his whānau safe. What do you mean? All these incidents involve the political left and the press gallery and media in general have failed to report a single one of those things I just told you. Here's what Annie O'Brien says. Read that again. Every single one of those events should have been a news story. They certainly would have been if it were Cam Slater calling for people to spit in the food of a Labour Green Te Pāti Māori, or Shane Jones, who shared a video of a prospective candidate saying that she would struggle not to punch Chris Hipkins. And Chloe Swarbrick in the face. The incidents involve racial discrimination, political intimidation, incitement to violence, and claims of unsafe internal culture. In a functioning democracy with a watchdog media who reported equally equally as critically about both sides, that would be leading bulletins. But they weren't. They never saw the light of day. Because our media class isn't a watchdog, it's a bloody lapdog. We all know that media bias exists, but New Zealand's press gallery takes it to a new level now. They no longer see their bias because they no longer recognise anything outside of it. They're locked into a great pretense of neutrality. It's bullshit. And let me tell you something else. When the public stops trusting the media, they don't stop being curious. They just start believing the next person who'll tell them they're not crazy. That's how we end up with conspiracy theories and division. Starts with a vacuum, and we help create it. This isn't about going full right-wing either. We don't need Fox News. We need news that represents the full spectrum with teeth and spine and with some damn curiosity. You can't call yourself a watchdog when you're chasing the same bone as a political class. So newsroom bosses, editors, producers, listen to Annie. Reflect, hire wider, be braver, invite uncomfortable views, and stop pretending your personal politics don't leak into your stories. We don't need perfect journalists. We need some honest journalism and some honest journalists.
Editor-in-Chief with Duncan Garner.
We've all been there, right? Come home from a long day at work, sit down and then get the inevitable what's for dinner. Being too tired to cook or even drive to the shop, Uber One is your answer. Joining Uber One gives you $0 delivery fee on eligible orders, 5% Uber credit on all rides, and exclusive offers through Uber, Uber Eats, and their partners. And if you sign up before the end of the year, you'll also get $10 off Uber cashback. Wow, that's pretty good, isn't it? Join Uber One today and start reaping the benefits. It ends December 31st. T's and C's, a minimum spend and fees apply. Okay, Annie O'Brien, who wrote this piece, she joins me now. Annie, g'day, nice to see you. Welcome to the podcast.
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. You got good reaction to that piece the other day on the media?
Yeah. I sometimes am surprised by what takes off, but that one really struck a chord.
Well, I reckon people. Well, I mean, everywhere I go and talk to people have just so lost faith and trust in the media, like worse than I thought. And the more you get out, the more you hear it. You know. I was up north the other day.
Definitely.
I was in Chicago. There's no one trusts the media anymore, and they there's a lot of sometimes it's conspiratorial. A lot of times it's true.
I think there's definitely a mix of both going on. I think some of the conspiracies are a bit wild, but
some of them are. Yeah,
I think the danger. Yeah, but I think the danger is that a lot of journalists put it all down to the conspiracies, and it's just these crazy people did it. It's like, well, no, there is some of that. Yeah. But actually, you guys have dug your own hole a lot as well.
I agree. You know, I mean, I look at John Campbell. He rushes after Brian Tamaki all the time. That's fine, dude, Brian Tamaki. But we expect him to do that. What about Benjamin Doyle from the Green Party? What about the Greens' demise in the last 12 months? You know, look behind the curtain. Nothing. Te Pāti Māori, who, and I spend a lot of time fucking getting into them. They are a debacle. They are an activist separatist accident happening in front of our eyes, and the media is so scared of being called racist, they don't do anything.
I just think of like earlier classes. I mean, like when you were in the press gallery, right? Yeah. Like the earlier classes of press gallery journos would have been frothing over this, right? Yeah. You would have been outside the doors, you know. It would have been like, who can get the scoop, just like clambering over each other. And it's like, oh no, everyone stick their head down, don't make eye contact. We don't want to be the one who puts it out there. I saw Guy and Espin at the gym last night, and we're chatting away about this because we used to be partners in crime on this for a long time, you know. And I just we chased Brash in 2005 election, you know, exclusive breather and everything. We fucking destroyed him. We almost broke him to within an inch of his life. You know, and that was the hunting as a pack, and that was the media, and you know, there was no holds barred. But then it suddenly went all about, you know, it was probably around when Jacinta took power. It just went on its head. Yep. She had a very successful shift in how media perceived their role. I would say she drove a lot of that. And it's not that it's a conspiracy, it's that she took forward this idea of kindness, which didn't really play out in practice.
Not at all.
You know, this idea. And it was suddenly like, instead of journalists seeing the government as the government, the power, the people that you go after, you chase the story, you hold them to account. It was like, oh no, it's a really nice young mum who's our prime minister. We don't want to cause a bother for her. You know, it's this real shift in attitude. Whereas I kind of, as brutal as it was, that feral kind of pack mentality where journos used to go after every politician and try and get a scalp, that served the public better because they dug shit up.
Well, I'm smiling away here because this is my DNA. This is my DNA. Like for 20 years, it's sort of 30 years, it's all I've done. And so, it was a very uncomfortable sort of notion and sitting there, but also seeing the press conferences live. Now, normally people don't see those live, but now online and the old digital universe we live in now shows warts and all, So it used to be that only 3 or 4 media controlled everything, and you never saw the back room, Now you see the front and back, So, hey, what are you doing now? Before we kick off, what's your role now?
So I work for the Campaign Company, which is a digital marketing agency. We serve mostly political clients, so lobby groups and politicians and stuff. So a mixture of issues.
Yeah, that's really interesting. But you can get into people's heads, It'd be interesting over the next year, because you'll be busy.
Oh, we thought we were going to get a lull after the last election because we thought, okay, we'll get just a little drop. Everyone was charging towards that election, wanting to get their issue at the front. There's been no lull. It's just been panic from both sides.
It really has been, because the battle for next year is good. Because Luxon, he's struggling for connection, and they need to replace him, in my view. But they will need a really good advertising campaign.
Honestly, I said to them, maybe it was a couple of months ago now, in a piece, I said, go and get the checkbook out, get your biggest donor, and go overseas. Find the best comms people that you can, pay them whatever they want, and get them to follow them around for the year and just sort out the storytelling issue, because you are not connecting. And they've got this young team of, probably very talented young people, but they've just not got the experience or the kind of
I see it every day.
Wiliness. You
need to look. I know it says a bit boring, but experience matters, and I see where they go wrong with it all the time. The office, the 9th floor is weak, and I see it all the time. And experience, and if you've been there and buried the bodies before, you kind of know. And it's just, and you need to also attack this weakness on the other side, like this Labour Greens Party.
I know.
It is such a gift that keeps on giving. And fucking use it.
But they're just not they're not nailing it though. They're just
not tough. They don't know what they're doing. They've got no perspective. They've got no context, and they've got no history of it all. These guys are woeful. Yeah.
Oh, they're just there's so many open goals, and National's too scared to even take a strike. They're like, oh, it's better if we'll just let them
I know.
Fall over by themselves.
Someone else do it. Maybe Winston can attack them, or Shane can, because whenever I've done anything on this podcast, ripping into the Māori of the Greens, it goes off. It goes massive, and they get the benefit. Shane and Winston and all those guys come on, but Luxon's just a wuss. Because he believes in climate change. He believes in all this. He's losing votes from being a wuss.
He is, and I think at the start of this term, someone told him, use Winston as your kind of shield. Let him go out and do the scary stuff and you just go behind. Whether that was good advice at the start or not, it's now very, very bad advice, because Winston now, every time he stands up for something, gets the people going, well, he stands up for something.
It's the Prime Minister.
And Luxon just looks like the weak guy.
Luxon looks like the guy that's got the job, but the other guy's running it, and Winston's at 10, 12%. I've seen Winston. Winston is never this high at this stage of the electoral cycle. Prime Minister and the governing party, major governing party, should be 40%. They're 10, 11 below it. It's fucking chaotic.
You look at where National was under Bridges, and they rolled him. I still just kind of can't cope with that, because I'm like,
Simon
they were in the 40s.
I know, they were 41. I see Simon up here a little bit. But yeah, I know. Well, Brasher won the election, remember? the election.
Yeah, that's true.
I think Murray McCully and that were relieved he didn't, because imagine him as Prime Minister. It was just a walking accident. But it's nice to have you on. You worked for Sean, eh? Did you work with the platform? Did you go there?
I did briefly, yes. But I can't talk about that because we've got some legal issues.
No. I've done some shifts there too, but...
yeah.
It's just too hard. It's Sean. I've known him for a long time, so but Sean is Sean. Sean is.
That is
deep
a true statement.
And sometimes it's just best to stay away. Okay, I'll kick it off. So lovely to have you on. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah. Hey. So your Substack, your piece you wrote about the media the other day, it's had real impact. When I saw this, I thought, wow, someone's finally calling it. What made you? Well, what did you say, and why did you say it?
Well, I am kind of known to put the boot into the media a bit. I'm very frustrated, as many are, that they seem to know that they have lost trust, but blame everything except things they can control. And I guess in my background, I have previously worked in Parliament, so I've got a little bit of kind of insider knowledge, not quite as much as you would say, but I've got a little bit there. And I've been writing about politics and kind of cultural issues in New Zealand for a while. I wrote about the media situation in that piece just out of pure frustration that the media, it's not just about what they are reporting on, it's what they're not reporting on as well. It's about the editorial decisions that are shaping what people understand of our political landscape. Now, there are certainly ways that the government is hamstringing themselves and making life difficult for themselves, but I do think they are getting a rough go of it when the media is shaping up stories about them pretty harshly. And then you have kind of calamity after calamity happening on the other side, and it's crickets, and I say this today when it's all kind of actually blown up, which is good. We're getting finally an insight into Te Pāti Māori's chaos.
Well, and we are, and I've been really focused on the Greens and Te Pāti Māori in the last year because I've never seen minor parties like this blow up in such a huge way and get such little coverage. Like, we would have been standing at doors, alleyways, hallways, marae, houses, whatever it would have been, and we wouldn't have protested outside them. We wouldn't have thrown a wrench through it. We would have just hid behind the tree and nailed them as they came out. But that's what we. Hey, unashamedly,
I know.
we smacked all sides. Ask Helen Clark's press secretary Mike Munro. He said they didn't care what the blood was, red or blue. They just wanted the blood, and so we did that in the public interest because we thought they needed to answer and be accountable for actions, and we went fucking hard. I look at it now and I think...
And that's what we need now.
Yeah.
We need it. Where is that feral, frothing kind of, journalists were their own breed. It was, you became a journalist because you had a hunger to go and chase the stories, expose, challenge power.
Yeah.
And now it's like they kind of line up behind the power that they like and just prop it up while trying to do as little as possible to disrupt anything that would kind of undermine the other side.
Yeah, get them on the other
and
side.
It's,
yeah.
It's just
I did that.
I
I did this for like 17 years at Parliament, and I got to Auckland. I left. Feral was the word I used. Feral was the word Linda Clark used when she left. I came up here, bought a house, and I walked in the bush every day for a year to find myself and recover again, to get an equilibrium. Like, I walked for an hour every morning in the Blockhouse Bay bush to try and become a better person again because I had turned like them.
Become human again.
Yeah, but it's true. I tell this to everyone. And so we were absolute animals. But we were. I thought we meted out the treatment to everyone who deserved it. I never saw. I didn't care who they were. I've never voted in my life because I've never wanted to stand in the pub at night and say, "Well, I voted for," as John Campbell said, "the Alliance." So there's no flies on me.
Well, it used to be quite common that journalists would choose not to vote.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a thing. I'm a journalist. I don't vote because it's a symbolic. I'm not going to even put a private stick in the sand. I'm going to just tell what I see. And that's what we need now.
Yeah, well, so I was there at 21 in the press gallery. And so young, I just graduated. I'd been 6 months at TVNZ and then I was thrown in there, I think because I was naughty. And so they wanted to punish me for 6 weeks. So it was 17 years. And so I saw and reported on things, and this was another generation, but everyone was a hard bugger, the women, the men, everyone, no matter what party, it was play for keeps. Nowadays the media's making apologies for some of these parties and some of their behaviours and not covering it. And I said to Petty Gower, it was one of his first days when we poached him from the Herald, I said, it's not what you do, you're defined by what you say no to. In this space.
I totally agree. I think I kind of kicked off a little bit this morning and upset some people online because the Herald published their story about Te Pāti Māori's email they sent out last night to their membership, making all sorts of accusations about Maria Meno Kapakingi and her son Eru. Now, they didn't actually tell us what those allegations were. It was the most nothing article to start with.
Yes.
It was like, there are allegations. And so I was looking at going, is there a suppression order here? Why are they not telling us anything? And I said that, and all the good and great from all the different parties were telling me off and saying, well, they might get sued. Well, that's publications used to just go, well, sue us.
Yeah.
We're going to tell the truth.
Well, give us the facts, the story
we're
there.
gonna put it out there.
I mean, when I saw that story, I was the same as you. I saw that story this morning, and I was gasping for air, looking behind it, looking for the details, because it's a headline that says email released. What the hell's in it? What's the accusation?
Where's the email?
What have they done? Have they punched a staff member out? Have they sacked someone they shouldn't? Have they hired a gangster? What have they done? There's no, and the thing is, the bar is high. Like you can say things about publicly aligned people or public-facing people, who have like MPs and even public servants, way more than you can about private citizens. There's a defence is way high.
And also they've always done the old. We have seen reports that are unproven, but this is what they are, this is the email that was sent out. It is unverified, but here you go, and then you allow people to think for themselves. I mean, we've got a real problem with the law if that's then going to be shut down, because it means the law is too punitive in that regard.
But it's even worse. Well, when I saw the Toiti Tiriti Edu Kapukingi, when he said, we're leaving the Māori Party, this is no longer fit for purpose for us. Even that was reported terribly. He's leaving because his mum is falling out with the Māori Party. He's leaving because his mama, that he loves, and rightly so, has offside now with the party.
Good on him.
It's not the Toiti Tiriti group that crossed the Harbour Bridge that John Tapiti used to get more membership. It is basically his mum, him and his mum saying, F you to the party. That's what that's all about. The media never gave that perspective.
Exactly. And I mean, that would have been a tastier story to chase, because you ask him, it's your mother. Are you defending your mum? No, I'm not defending my mum. Well, clearly you are. And it's actually kind of the more New Zealand story, because that's how things are. Like, especially in this party, you look at them, they cannot deny it. They hire family members all over the place. You got Kiri Tamaheri's right in the middle of it all, with her husband over there and her dad over there. And they are all family members. And so this is going to happen. There's going to be a blow up, and someone's mum's going to be falling out with someone's husband, and it's all on. And that's the story.
And to pretend that Toiti Tiriti was some sort of big movement outside the Te Pāti Māori, it's just a wing of the party. That's all it was,
Well, Kitty owns it. She's the
Exactly.
the only shareholder.
So, but the media's never told. I mean, people hear this tonight. They'll be like, "Oh shit, I didn't know that." Like, I did a takedown yesterday of Ordini Kaupara, and my ex-wife, that's her first cousin. So, I want to get lots of blowback on this, because I know that.
That's the most New Zealand thing ever, right?
Of course it is. It's just fuck all up us here. So, but the thing is, I thought it was an arrogant position to take to write roughshod over the parliamentary rules and the standing orders and all that sort of stuff. Imagine we went on to Marae and did that. Now, I would have said this sort of thing on at 6 o'clock news 20 years ago, but no one that I saw, they didn't even report, TV1 didn't even talk about the suspension of Parliament. Like, no one have I seen.
Pretend it didn't happen.
That's right. This here, if you go and change it and put it on its head, could you do that on a marae? Could you go and just walk over their rules? No, you would get humiliated and physically removed. That should be said on TV.
It should be. And it's interesting, because now that there's been a couple of haka that have gone a bit viral, the Americans have seen the video.
I love it.
And so, it starts being talked about internationally. And it always amazes me to see outsiders talk about our politics, because they get lots wrong, but also they don't have the constraints that we have in terms of the politics that kind of keeps us all dancing around in circles. So some of the stuff the Americans have said about it, I'm like, oh God, that's appalling. Don't say that. But some of it, I'm like, I wish people would just be that straight up here, which is basically this idea that it is not practical for us to have a situation where every time Te Pāti Māori decides they're not happy about something or are very happy about something, that they throw a tantrum and do a haka and disrupt everything. Yeah. And we have a suspension, and now we have to go into privileges committee, and now we have to go through the rigmarole where the media is going to present the government as racist for holding them to the standards that everyone's held to. And here we go again.
Yeah, I mean, the term racist, it's almost worth nothing anymore. You know, when someone
It's
if someone
sad
says
as
that
well.
about me, I say, well, my kids are Māori. I mean, I've supported them through kohanga reo and kura, and so how's this racism? You know what I mean?
Well, you probably sent them to their room once or twice, and that was probably
Not enough.
racist. So.
Not enough. No, but you know, I get pushback now from my daughters who are saying to me, "What are you saying?" I'm saying, "Well, I'm not. I'm saying things that maybe don't fit your bias." So people like me who will have a go at anyone. So the journalists who have taken sides will say to me, "God, man, he's biased." Well, it's because I don't fit their bias. That's what it's about. It's like turning up to a National Party conference or Labour conference when I was a younger journo. People go, "Oh, not you, you're biased." Well, that's because I'm doing stories that you don't like. That's what I find.
Exactly. But it should be the case that that a journalist or the journalist gallery show up to those events, Labour, National, Te Pāti Māori, whoever, and every party should be on edge. They should all be like, okay, what are they going to report on? What's the angle they're going to get? You know, we're on best behaviour. And it should be that there's this kind of feeling that anyone can be under the spotlight. But it really just doesn't feel like that now. You
know, I used to use this. This is another phrase I used to use with Patty and say, you know, you got to let people know that you're there. So you've got to have a real presence. So your reporting first and foremost must remain in their heads. So when you turn up into a room, it's a psychological warfare. So you turn up and they know you're there. Now, I always said this is part of the game. You know, people might think, geez, this is complicated, but this is how it is. It was how it was. And so you turn up and you'll be sitting at the back and they know you're about to go them, you know. And this is the greatest thing about this sort of this power thing, you know, in Parliament and journalism and everything. It used to be great. Now it's just so watered down and so conservatively cautious. It's who they don't go to. When was the last time that they interviewed Don Brash? Why did I do a whole series of stories on the in Taupo on the co-governance agreement? There's a huge big local government thing going on there where the council hasn't gone out and asked the people what they think. They're just dealing with iwi. I ripped into that story, big story in Taupo, really big story, and it's changing the world down there. The mainstream media didn't touch it. There is a co-governance agreement that's been.
It's the omission.
It's the omission. It's what you don't do. You know, it's shocking.
Yeah.
Why doesn't John Campbell go there and look at that and get on the side of the rest of the voters? Oh, no, he's too busy in the pockets of the others.
No, he'd be staying at the marae and asking to help with the kai, you know.
How are you, auntie? You know, so, but it's true. You know, you just can't have friends in this game.
No, and it's similar across the board, especially, as you say, around questions of race, around all of these. I feel like, you know, I went to primary school and we were all kumbaya and blummin' doing Māori intensive week and getting stuck into reo, and like it was just like everyone was all good. And then I feel like in the last decade everyone just lost their bloody minds and we've all just suddenly, like, all this toxicness that wasn't there is there. And the media now, and if they can't put their spin on it, they just won't go there. And so, like, another example that I was just astounded by was Ngāi Tahu's case this year down south around water ownership. There was like 2 articles. I'm like, the iwi that is like the whole South Island is literally in court trying to establish ownership of water.
I know. Where's the
Do you know
stories?
how many people this would impact?
Well, what about Meridian paying off a couple of hapu in the Ngāi Tahu tribe $110 million for them not to oppose the spilling of water in the South Island? That there is a bribe. And so the iwi go, thank you, $110 million.
That'll do us.
But can you imagine? I mean, I'll take that money to oppose a resource consent as well. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is bribery. I mean, and the power prices stay high as a result. These guys win. It's like the I did the story the other day, and I see Hosking jumped onto it, but I don't know if anyone else has. The iwi in Wellington got the first rights of refusal on this building, on these Dixon Street flats, so they got it for $1 million. All right. Within 2 weeks, they'd flipped it to their mate, a developer called Castles, who's a local Pākehā guy, developer in Wellington, for $3 million. They made $2 million flipping such a culturally
in 20 days or something.
In 22 days. Like, come on. Like, this is the sort of thing they campaign against in Parliament, and the flipping and everything. And they did it because it suited them. And the government allowed that. They gave them first right of refusal because it was apparently some culturally important building or something. Really? They just flicked it.
Well, the first right of refusal is being embedded in a lot of the new legislation. It's in a lot of the treaty agreements, and it sets up those kind of situations. Totally. And I mean, to be fair, I do not criticise that iwi for doing that. If they've got the right to do it, go and make money. You know, that's what capitalism is, right?
Yeah.
You've got the right to do it. Go sell it, flip it, make money for your people, whatever. Just maybe make sure it trickles down a little bit more.
Well, maybe have a level playing field at the start. Maybe the government could get a bit of return on their asset by saying, right, bids please.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yes. That's the thing, though, is that that they're playing by the rules. The rules are wrong. We need to reset to a place where, you know, iwi are in the financial position to be bidding alongside everyone else because of settlements. They've got heaps of money there. And as should have been the case, these settlements have happened, and that's great. But the settlements have happened. We were meant to, I mean, Helen Clark was talking about drawing a line back in like 04 or 07 or something. Yeah. And it was like, it was like, okay, we're going to do all these settlements, and then we're going to hit a date, and we're going to say, that's it, as a country, we are moving on. There is no chance of that happening now. No chance. And there's no chance of the media ever saying, should we have a conversation about this?
Yeah.
Should we talk about the fact that we had this plan?
So I talk about this, all right? So and I've had Willie Jackson in here when I said, when is the line drawn that says, right, we've settled, everything's fine and dandy, we've got rid of the past now, and now we can move forward. No more claims. We had 50 years of this, by the way, 50 years, and the tribunal's become a lobby group, and so 50 years. My son, who's 15, says to me, why are we still, and he's Māori, he says to me, why are we still blaming you guys for what happened then, and we're still paying it? I said, well, no, we need to do something. We decided that we're going to put it right. But you know what? Māori don't want to end this, because this is the insurance policy that they never want to give up, because this just continues to feed them, continues to hand out, and it's not doing them any good. Yeah. And and there are some big organisations, iwi organisations, done really well. And Otahu's your example. Taino's done really well too. And these guys are now embedded in. They have their own education system, great. They have their own schools, great. University, TV channel, media outlets. They have their own university. They have their own hospitals. They have their own health centres. Kohanga, you name it, they've got. And they sit at the government level. They sit in public service. They sit everywhere. Board tables, executives. They're not excluded. They are included. So why are we suddenly having this massive fight that somehow they've missed out? The past was the past, but the present, I would say that we've bent over backwards to include them.
I'm really worried, actually. I wrote a piece recently about comments that Edo Kapakingi made to the spin-off, which you can kind of gather what framing that was.
Well, it's just left-wing crap.
Well, he said to them that the Ngaipuhi settlement, which is the behemoth they're trying to wrestle with at the moment, he said it's time to put mana over money. He said reject the money, which is easy to say when you're not the poor people in Northland, but anyway, reject the money and take the land. Demand the sovereignty. Let's balkanise New Zealand, Let's just actually the disaster. Like, look anywhere else in the world. Look at the Balkans. What happens when you fracture a country and have different sovereignties and different groups based on race, religion? It is the worst idea.
I say this all the time too. You cannot divide a country and give other people, different races, different advantages compared to other people. It is called apartheid, and you will die. We have civil war. I reckon we're heading. Some of my panelists over the time, they say that we're heading towards civil war. I try to pull them back, but if we continue down this path, it is a path of destruction. I don't see a good result at the end of it.
The thing is, with civil war, obviously we think of the clashes of two groups and spears and guns and all that kind of thing. We're already in an element of civil conflict in that there are two pretty much irreconcilable sides of people who, on the one hand, think that Māori, by virtue of being here first, should have different rights and should be able to interact with the government differently and should have powers over land and water and stuff.
Yeah, they do.
Then the other side, and the other side says, no, actually, let's all have the same rights. And so we have entrenched positions that are not getting any closer to each other or looking like being resolved. So we are in a kind of civil conflict. And the problem is that we had a government voted in who basically, as a coalition government, got a mandate to end that division. People said, we want to vote for you guys so that you can stop co-governance, so that you can make sure we're all on the same level footing. But instead of that, we're in a situation where it's continued. Now, some of it's happened at local government level.
Big time.
So they can't control that, you know. I think they should actually get in their boots and all and say, look, local government, stop introducing these co-governance clauses. And
they can't, because this was agreed to 10 years ago by Chris Finlayson in treaty settlements. So they're now being held to account for that. If Luxon wants to win the election, he's got to go so extreme now because he's losing. And I reckon that he has to. He either gets replaced or he comes out and he says, "This treaty principles, Bill David." Just remind me of this again, because Chris Finlayson, when the truth comes down to it, and the history will show that he sided with the protesters. Chris Finlayson, the National Prime Minister, sided with the people that came to Parliament on the march. He didn't side with his own coalition minister and partner. He sided with the Māori Party. That's the truth.
It was an incredible kind of act of betrayal that they tried to excuse away with, oh, we have differences of opinion and that's okay. And I was quite surprised that ACT didn't make more of it, because ACT usually is quite willing to, you know, make a bit of a song and a dance about things if they think it's needed. And so I did think, why have they not really pushed him hard on this? And I just wonder if it's because they thought he'd break, like, and not in their favour, just in general.
I wonder if it's that Seymour wasn't doing this. He knew he wasn't going to get it through this time, but this is for the next year's election, so he can now go out there and say, "Well, I tried," and he will bring this back up, and it will all come back to. And then this is where Luxon's going to have to front, and it will break him because they haven't got any record of doing anything. They have allowed this to continue.
Yeah. And, you know, chatting to a few backbenchers now, the Nats are getting nervous. And
totally. So
Luxon should be nervous, you know. The backbenchers are going, okay, if I haven't got an electorate, I'm in big trouble.
Yeah.
If I'm crawling in on the list, there's no way I'm getting back in. If I have got an electorate, the margin I got last time is not looking secure. And they start going, ooh, you know, is it worth moving? People say they're doing the numbers, blah, blah, blah. Ultimately, I'm kind of like, I've toed and froed on it, because there's a lot that's destructive about removing a leader and putting someone else in. It's a gamble.
No one's ever won.
It's a total gamble.
No one's ever won.
Yeah.
Not in postmodern politics. No one's ever done that and won. I was there when Shipley rolled Bolger. She didn't win. You know, it was at the end of the term.
Yeah.
But this shouldn't be happening. This is the second year of a first term.
I know, and as I say, there is so much that's their own fault. There is a lot that is their own fault, and I just tear my hair out constantly. But the media is playing a massive role. And I've said to ministers before, you've got to stop caring what the media say about you and talk directly to people. Get on podcasts, get on social media, just talk directly to people, because it doesn't matter if you give the media everything that you think they want, they'll take it and then they will say, and she's a racist and he's
you got it.
Hates the poor people. And, you know, like, it's
and that's what Winston, Shane and David are all going direct to people. You look at their strategy, all direct to the people. And that's working. Hey, great talking with you.
Absolutely.
Amazing talking with you. There's just a couple of things. That you said in your piece. You highlight some of those areas where the media hadn't covered those stories. You know, you picked up on those things. You know, and you're so right. A couple of those issues, like, you know, I feel like smacking someone in the mouth or something. One of these politicians said, and that was ignored.
Oh, that's right.
You know, but if that was the other way around, to say that someone national MP had said that, well, it'd be front page news.
And rightly so. Like, it was Tanya Waikato, she's a lawyer, I believe, who said she's going to run at the next election. And Marama Davidson has shared her video, which is a very strange video of her lip syncing to Madonna, and I don't really know what it's about. But on it, she says that it'll be very hard not to punch David Seymour and Winston Peters. Now, if you want to be an MP and that's your announcement video, is like talking about punching the other side, I'm sorry. I'm sure there was once upon a time where anyone said that and it would have been beyond the pale. That person's never,
As violence is not okay, and they should be called out, but it's not. And I despair. And there's your proof. You don't need anything more. I'm going to send you an email because I want to talk to you about some other things. So I'll be in touch. But thank you so much. Always nice to meet you and lovely speaking with you.
Yeah, great to be on your show.
Okay, cheers. Ta-ra. Okay, folks, that is us. Thank you so much for following the podcast, for watching, for listening. And you can always get hold of me, Duncan, at rover.nz, to my team, Lockie, Brody. Thank you, guys. Appreciate the efforts that you always make. You can subscribe. You can text the word Duncan or the name Duncan to 3598. That will get you the link, and $7.99 a month. And that gets you bonus episodes every week. It gives you Ask Me Anything sessions, gets you my weekly newsletter. So it's the best media money can buy. $0.99. You get change from a tenner. And we're doing this because we want to survive. Media has to wipe its own backside, which means that we have to make money. We have to survive in this commercial world. Dog eat dog. We've got costs here and everything, so we need to cover them. So I'm just asking for your help. And if you can, appreciate it. If you can't, this is still free. It's just the bonus stuff is the stuff we're asking for a donation for. That is us, folks. Thank you so much for your feedback. Thank you to the Brothers Green, of course, for backing us and partnering with us and supporting us. We'll do this all again tomorrow, of course. Remember, life's no dress rehearsal, no curtain raiser. You're living at it. You live in one of the best places on earth. Get out and enjoy the rest of the day. Take care. Ta-da.
Editor-in-Chief with Duncan Garner.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief, sponsored by the Brothers Green. Feed your gut what it needs. Digest Gut Health Protein Powder. I use it myself. It supports natural digestion and gut health. Made with premium Canterbury-grown hemp powder and a unique blend of active kiwifruit enzyme powder and kiwifruit skin extract, offering natural prebiotics and a nutrient-rich profile to complement a balanced lifestyle. Always read the label. Take as directed. Supplementary, of course, to a balanced diet. The Brothers Green, Christchurch.